Hey YouTube, my name is Nick, and what I have in this box here today is an N64 which I imported from Japan. Not only am I going to show you what is inside this box here today, but also I'm going to be testing out the unit to show you that it works, and I'm going to explain how the region locking feature of the console works. So without further ado, let's crack this sucker open so that I can show you what I got. I might need that X-Acto knife again, but we'll see. Oh wow. Okay, this might actually be a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. So I finally detached it from the cardboard. Now it's just in the bubble wrap. And you can kind of already make out what exactly I got here, but in case you couldn't tell, I bought a bundle for a grape purple N64. Or at least they would call it the grape purple console in North America. What I actually bought was the Japanese variant, obviously known as the midnight blue variation. And you can see the unit right here. So it came with not just the console, which I'm unwrapping right now. Yeah, so there's the console. Midnight blue. I noticed in the image there was I thought this was a chip in the plastic. It's just a scratch, so that's actually okay. There's the cartridge slot. Feels pretty solid. There's the bottom. Very, very good condition overall. Aside from that minor scratch. But here's everything else. So it came with the console. It came with one midnight blue controller, which looks absolutely nice. It came with an OEM power supply. And you can use Japanese region power supplies in North America, no problem. I searched it up. And it also came with Japanese Majora's Mask, a video cable, but there's a huge bonus, and this was a really, really major reason why I bought this particular console. Because for the price that I paid, if you could tell what I'm about to do here, it came with Majora's Mask, but it also came with the expansion pack, so I did not pay extra for this. This came with the expansion pack in the console already. So when I saw that, I was like, ooh, yeah, that's a very good deal. So I'm just going to actually take out the expansion pack for a sec just to check to make sure that it's OEM. It most likely is, but I just want to make sure. Yep, this is definitely OEM. There's no question about it. You can see by the markings right here. The expansion pack usually by itself goes for around 60 to 70 bucks, and I paid $117 before shipping. So there you have it. That's basically everything that I got, and the expansion pack was a huge reason why I purchased this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get it set up just to show that Majora's Mask works. And then we will move on to explaining how the region locking works. So as you can see, I have my N64 set up to my CRT here. So we're going to flick the power switch and this should work. It helps when you plug it in. Here we go. Ah, red light on the front. Looking good. And there it is. That right there is Majora's Mask. Huh, there's a save file there. I'll translate what that says on screen. But obviously, this one says save file 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure what these say. They might say erase and copy. And I'm not sure what that last one says. But I'm just guessing on these ones. I obviously can't read Japanese. I'm just going to start this save file just so we can see how far they got in. That might say no. This might be yes. No, that was no. Okay, this one is yes. This one says no. Okay. Dawn of something, 72 hours remain, I think. Something like that. I'm going based off of memory. That says Clocktown, and here we are, so it works. So, clearly it's working, but there's one problem. You know, I can't read Japanese. So, it's good to see that the console works. But, what good is an N64 if I can't play the games in English? Well, right here, this is my first N64 game. I honestly just bought this yesterday. And so, I'm going to try to make Star Wars Episode 1 Racer work by plugging it into the N64. Despite this being a Japanese unit. And you'll see that if I try to put it in, it will go up until a certain point until this is not properly seated. So in order to install the region-free cartridge slot for the N64, you will need a game bit screwdriver so that you can take apart the console. So the first thing you got to do is you got to flip it onto its back, and you have to remove, it looks like, 4, 5, 6 screws from the bottom so that you can remove the lid. So I'm going to do that now. Alrighty, so we got the 6 screws out. The next thing that I have to do in my case, depends on if you already did this or not. The next thing you have to do is you have to remove the expansion pack or the jumper pack if you do not have the expansion pack, but in my case, I have the expansion pack. So you just gotta just pry up on this a little just to get it out and just set it aside. And now the top should come off just like that. Very simple and straightforward. The bottom half does not have to be modified, but what does have to be modified is the top half. So there are 2 Phillips head screws here, which you have to remove in order to get this plate off, and this is what is causing our problems. So I found a larger screwdriver. Hopefully this one will work. Oh yeah, much easier. My Phillips screwdriver was too small, the previous one I was using. That comes out just like that. So you just simply slide this out, like so. And we take the region-free cartridge slot, line up this hole with this tab here, put the 2 screws back, and put the entire console back together. Alrighty. Just to quickly show you, before I put the 6 screws back, on the actual cartridge slot, essentially, what is stopping you from playing North American games in the cartridge slot is these little square tabs here. So you can see that when I put the Japanese game in, you can see that the holes line up right here in the tray. But when I try to put the North American game in, it gets stuck. It does not proceed any further than here. And that's where the problem lies. So with the 3D printed piece that I made, or rather that I printed because I did not create it, it totally bypasses this problem. So some people in the past used to suggest that you just Dremel this out or just cut it or slice it entirely. But I also have this as an original piece, which I'm not going to modify and just keep alongside the console, or, you know, somewhere where I can find it. So bringing the console back, I'm gonna move these out of the way again. Just put the two halves of the shell back together. You can put back the expansion pack or the jumper pack. Just push it in, nice and simple. Flip it upside down again, and then just put the 6 screws and you're done. Very simple and straightforward. And now when I hook it back up, it should be able to play my North American copy of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And there you have it. So as you can see, if I put this in, this should still work. So that sits in there. No problem. And now if I put Episode 1 Racer, it also sits in there, no problem. So now when I hook this up, this should work. Oh, did this get stuck? Okay, anyway. As you can see, that did work. I will take that apart and take a look at that in a sec, but I'm going to hook this back up once I get this sorted out, and I'll show you that this does in fact function. So I did a quick search on Google, and I figured out what was the matter with why the N64's cartridge slot door was getting stuck. And apparently this is a common occurrence with 3D printed trays for the N64 region-free slot. And someone else also commented on Reddit the fact that they also had it happen where their cartridge slot kind of melted. So I'll keep you guys updated if that poses a problem. But basically how I solved my issue was that I just carefully held the cartridge slot as I was putting the lid back on top of the console. So I put the 6 screws back in, and as you can see, it now doesn't get stuck, and I can swap between cartridges no problem. So again, just to quickly clarify, all I did was I did not put in the 2 screws for the region-free slot. You can see them right here. And this is the original slot. So but anyhow, without further ado, let's prove that the region-free slot works. So I'm going to put in my North American copy of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Power that on. Hang on. Might need to be reseated. There we go. Also know that the expansion pack is working because of that little expansion pack enhanced message that came up. Okay, so B is the brake, obviously. Can you use the D-pad? Nope. Nope, you are intended to keep your left hand on the analog stick and your right hand on A and B for this game. That's lap 1. 2 more laps to go. Final lap. Pretty basic course. And there you go. So as you can see, that clearly worked no problem. And so I effectively region unlocked my N64 without any issues, or at least without any serious issues, but as you can see now, if I turn off the N64 and swap the game to Japanese Majora's Mask, you'll see that it will boot up like as if it's still Japanese. And there you go. There's Majora's Mask spinning on the title screen. And there you have it. So yeah, you pretty much get the gist of it. That's pretty much all I have to say about this. So now I have an N64 of my own. I never owned an N64 before this point, so you know, there's a lot of new games that I could try out and stuff. But that pretty much wraps up this video. One last thing I want to try. If I take out the cartridge and just boot it, nothing will happen, right? Like the N64 doesn't have a BIOS menu, or does it? Yeah, because I think I saw in a video once that if you do not put a cartridge into the N64, it won't do anything, but that is to be expected. Because it doesn't have a BIOS, not like the GameCube or later Nintendo consoles. So yeah, that's it. That pretty much wraps up this video. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.